Damn, these some nice ass shoes. I think these shoes were sent from China, but boy, they feel great. So, anyways, I wanted to talk a little bit today about the devaluation and the devaluing of and the loss of contribution of the non-select male in the black community. So we've all kind of gone through the construct of the selection process of males in the black community and how black women, for the most part, on average, kind of rank their selection process and how they choose men. Uh, Basically, you have your select guys and you have your non-select guys. Now, in particular, today I wanted to talk a little bit about the non-select guys and what losing them and ostracizing them, its effect on the overall collective of the black community. So a lot of times, the non-select guy falls under the category of the nerd, or he falls under the category of the not physically attractive. He doesn't have the swag. He doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have the jawline. He doesn't have the look. In a lot of ways that the select male is often chosen for. But my question to a lot of guys who shame, the non-select male for going elsewhere is, if we're talking about the collective of the black community and the progression of the black community, do these guys that are considered non-select, do they carry any community value? And I think what I'm hearing is that because he is non-select, you kind of give him these unreachable barriers, these unreachable goals to go for in order to become more selective. So you keep him in the rat wheel, so to speak. Whereas he might just decide to go and choose from another group, and he fits. He might not completely fit in, but he might do better on a mate selection basis in another group. So aside from the actual dating aspect of it and the potential mating aspect of it, what community value does the non-select male potentially bring to the black community? And I think that this is a point that's been looked over. I myself, I would consider myself in my younger days a non-select male in the black community. Now I'm accomplished now, and I've got myself together, and I'm doing just fine now. It doesn't bother me at all now because I can do what I want to do. I can make moves, and I've learned to be content with what works for me, and I'm not trying to meet up to somebody else's unreachable goal. So you have to do what's best for you, and that's what I learned, and that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm going to live the rest of my life. So, but on another note, I mean, in the context of what's best for the black community, does the non-select male carry value that the black community can benefit from on a collective level? And my answer to that is yes. He has a lot of value. But because he is looked at and judged primarily on his selective qualities, his primitive selective qualities, or qualities that he doesn't have, he is completely thrown out or abused if he continues to stay in this group. So my question to Black America and to the people who consider themselves pro-Black and consider the Black community to be competitive is, what are you doing to keep these guys that carry these valuable contributions that they could make to the Black community? What are you doing to keep them in the community? In other words, if they're not going to be selected on a primitive basis by the female groups, does that mean that you don't want them in the community at all? Does that mean that they're out completely? What if they can go to another group of women and be it non-Black or whatever, but they're happy. They weren't able to find that happiness and that contentment within the Black community, but they were able to find it in another group. Does that mean now that they're out? And I would say that's something that needs to be kind of looked at. I think that these gentlemen carry value, and to be devalued based on primarily based on their selective value from women is really short-sighted. But I see this every day. I have a lot of friends that I grew up with, and I met even more men across seas that have similar stories that I have, and they've just decided they hung up their shoes and they're done with it. And I can't blame them. And I'm right there, very close to them. I'm still dibbling dabbling over here, but I go across seas quite a bit. And going across seas not only expanded my dating pool, it also really gave me more of a grounding of my plain old common sense. And I'm going to continue to advise younger Black men to go across seas. I will do that, yes. And learn another language. Be free. At the moment, our community doesn't value men based on what they can actually bring and their potential contribution they can make to the community. They don't value that. Not only do they not value that, but they don't respect it. So you may have an actual contributive value that you could bring into the community. But since they don't respect you for what you can contribute, they'll end up abusing you in some way. You're going to see that they don't respect what it is that you actually bring for the maintenance of the community. They just want to utilize what you bring whenever they need it. They want the availability of what you bring so they can utilize it at whatever given time, but they're not going to respect it to the point to where they're maintaining you in a conscious manner. And because of that, yes, I think you should leave. I think you should leave until the landscape can be controlled in a manner to where you can maintain what you contribute to your community regardless of what they're doing or what they respect. Um, you know, I've recruited in my community in the last month. Some of you have seen my video I made of a billboard that I bought, and I put it in the community. And that billboard has been great. It really has been. I'll just put it like this: it's worth the money. Okay, it wasn't cheap by any means, uh, you know, but it. I don't feel like I lost any money by spending. The thing cost $45,000, but let me tell you something. Uh, I've blown a lot of money in my life, but this particular purchase, I do not think I wasted a dime. I learned the permit process. I've sold a few ads, but mainly I use it for the businesses that I'm bringing to the community myself. So I put up an ad I was looking for a pharmacist, and the ads ran maybe about 2 weeks, and I got a phone call. In fact, I got 3 phone calls for pharmacists willing to come to the community. Now, not only that, what I'm explaining to you is the recruiting process I went through, and I recruited what we need in the community myself. I not only just putting the ad up that we need a pharmacist, I put up the incentives that I was offering that pharmacist when he comes or he or she comes. Okay, free rent for the first year, building with a safe to lock your medicines up in. Uh, you know, work in conjointment with a clinic on one side of the building. You know, so in other words, I tried to make it very comfortable for the service that we needed for the collective and the community. And we got 2 of them now that we're interviewing. So that doesn't go on very much in the Black communities. They don't really. I just don't see a lot of that type of thing. And I just feel like we're losing such a valuable group to reasons that are so superficial that it's just going to be really costly to the collective. So, these guys, they do have value, but because they're not valued, because they're not respected, I have to guide these guys to go to somewhere else. I have to tell them, I said, man, you got to go somewhere where you're going to be valued. I don't want to see you abused in these communities, because that's what's going to happen. And yeah, it's just one thing I wanted to say about, noticing that my work in the Black community is that the non-select males, the guys who the women aren't running after, the guys who are kind of shunned and shamed. You're losing these guys, the value they can bring to the community, the competitiveness they could bring to your community. And so yeah, I'm gonna leave you with that. I'll show you another video in another week or so of the building that we're getting ready to remodel, and we're going to put new metal on it. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but we're going to take old metal off a building and put on brand new metal. So we'll see how it is. And I picked the color red. So I'll update you that in about another 2 or 3 weeks. We'll have some pictures of that. But anyways, peace.